shimmer of light. Come on over and let me give you a ride. Give me some fuel for the fire.
Ricochet. That's who that is.
Yeah.
Ricochet won the first round. So,
welcome all you wrestling fans to a fourth episode of the Pop-Up Powerbomb Podcast. I'm your host, the Breathtaking one himself, Spooky. And this evening, wrestling fans, we dissect and go over the results of the three major pay-per-views from the weekend. We also discuss the rumours around both CM Punk and Bill Goldberg. So grab those snacks and beverages, kick up those feet. And now, here at the Pop-Up Powerbomb Podcast, we just have one question for you all. Are you ready? All right. It's good to see so many familiar faces in the chat. And yeah, I'm going to do it again for Paul. All right.
there you go.
Matthew McConaughey.
Which basically equals a left, okay?
Yeah. So we see Pharrell up in the building. Good to see you, young sir. Of course, Trinity's in the chat. Always good to see you, baby. Dred's in the chat with us tonight. Always good to see you, brother. And of course, we had a new supporter. Welcome to the supporter tier, Killer Scorpion. Good to see you, brother, too. Everyone's welcome, of course. If you love wrestling, of course, hit this like button and share this out. It's always a great help. Of course, tonight, it's just, as the song goes, it's just the two of us. Just me and Paul tonight. Our other brother, he's had other commitments, but he will be back next week, so shout out to you, Josh. But how you been, Paul?
I'm doing okay.
Yeah, enjoying the wrestling over the weekend?
Yeah, it was a long weekend for wrestling. Even though I was only able to see 2 out of the 3, but still, they were pretty good.
Yeah. It's funny. I didn't, as we discussed last week at the end of the show. We didn't realise until the last minute there was actually 4 happening because Impact Wrestling has their pay-per-view as well.
Yeah, it's like, oh crap.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that one at all. So yeah.
No, I've got it, but I haven't watched it yet. I've seen my bits and pieces of highlights out there, but they're basically just the little indie show these days compared to what they used to be. So, but no, they had a half decent show from the sounds of things. But let's get straight into it, before we dissect these 3 major pay-per-views. Tony Khan has come out and addressed the CM Punk rumours at the same time as he was doing that. CM Punk decided to get on his social media and promote the new show, Collision. Obviously, Tony came out. I think he's trying to keep things under wraps. And I think you were saying on the last podcast that there was a contract, or a legality contract handed to him. We didn't know, obviously, much more about it. But by the sound of it, he's not ready to address it at this time. Can't actually said himself. I think that's something a lot of people want to know, obviously. And he said as we get close to the launch, on June 17th. I think more and more things will come into focus about the show. Obviously, it's going to be in Chicago, which is his hometown, at the United Center. So I can imagine fans, especially local fans, are going to be eager to see their boy. And I'm thinking if he's out here promoting it, I think that's a pretty reasonably clear indication that he's going to show up.
Well, okay, let me speak to that, because with Tony coming out and saying, "Well, slow down, slow your roll," it may be because he's, they are in the middle of a legal issue here. I mean, he got served legal papers. CM Punk got served legal papers.
That he did.
So him doing that, he may be trying to push the narrative and force them into a situation they don't necessarily want to be in.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what
So
I'm
basically doing a Hulk Hogan like Hogan did in WCW, holding them hostage, so to speak.
Right.
And we all, I mean,
putting them in a situation. Well, now I got to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why Tony's going, you know what? Shush.
we all know the situation too. That anybody that's in the know. Him and his friend Ace Steel got into it at last year's All Out pay-per-view with Kenny Omega and the Bucks backstage. This was not just so those that don't know, it wasn't scripted, it wasn't planned, it was a legitimate fight and argument, including his friend Ace Steel. What was it? What did he do? Did he spit? Did he spit on somebody?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's one of the things that triggered it. Yeah.
Yeah. He spit. I just don't know which one of the three he spat on, but he spat on either one of the Bucks or Kenny. And I think there was chairs or objects thrown as well, and a brawl ensued. Hence why everybody that was involved, the wrestlers themselves got suspended. And Ace Steel initially got fired. So there was that, and Punk's very close. He's been very close with Ace Steel for a long time. Ace Steel was one of the guys. He was a former wrestler himself that trained CM Punk, so they've been best buds for quite some time. And he's fighting, obviously, as we know. I mentioned it on the last podcast. He's fighting for him to be able to be backstage, obviously on Collision. And Tony's, having to decide whether that's a good idea or not. At the moment, they've hired him back. We know he's going to be working remotely because what we do know is none of these people involved have had a chance to sit down and talk, and their lawyers aren't letting them sort of sit down and talk with each other either. That was the last lot of news that came out. So it's getting quite interesting. We're not far off, obviously. June 17. Folks, is 3 weeks away. So they're 3 weeks away from this new show, and everything's kind of up in the air, and so it'll be interesting to see. Punk obviously has he's a very opinionated guy. Anybody that's ever followed him, seen interviews with him, he is very opinionated. He's got a very strong will, so he's kind of, I think, like you said, Paul, he's pushing them in possibly in a position where you got to do this and this kind of thing, and then I'll play ball kind of thing, and yeah, it's a difficult situation to see. So it is,
and I don't think Tony will give into it. I think he'll he'll push back, if anything, as we've already seen. He kind of stepped in and went, "Stop that,"
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Timmy, welcome in, brother. Welcome in. So I think Tony will dig his heels in, because this isn't one of his pillars. This would be a different story if it was like he was fighting for MJF or one of the other three young fellas. Obviously because they're the future. Punk's still obviously a name. He's still obviously a draw, but
he would be a draw. But to me, you can't let him run the show.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
No, exactly. We all seen how that did not help WCW back in the day when they let a lot of the wrestlers, not just Hogan, a lot of the wrestlers have
No,
a lot
of the big names,
have a lot of creative control, and this is why Vince's company's still in business, because he if you get to a certain position, I guess, as a wrestler, a stature in that company, like an Undertaker, for example, he'll let you have creative freedom with your character, but not creative freedom outside of that. Meaning, like, you can say, oh, I want, like he went to him and said, look, I want to change from the dead man to the biker gimmick. I want to freshen things up, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But not a say in, oh, I'm keeping the title. That guy's not having I'm not going to lose to that guy, and that's what Hogan was basically doing, as we know. I don't think here, I mean, obviously it's a bit of the same. I don't think Punk, though, has a problem with putting people over, unlike Hogan. But, he is very pig-headed, I guess you could say. And as I said, he's got very strong opinions. And
I think he's trying to put more worth on himself than he has. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, he's not. As we know, he's in his 40s now, so he's not like a spring chicken. He's not 20-something. He's not 30-something anymore. We've seen when he was wrestling.
No, he's only got so many years left in him, and he hasn't gone the bigger entertainment route like The Rock did and Cena did, and so this is it. This is going to be his. Unless something happens, this is going to be his.
The only thing he's done a horror
legacy.
Movie. He's done a horror movie, and he's in that. He's a character in that show, Stephen Amell's show, Heels, which is a wrestling show.
Right.
What's his called? What's his name on that? Ricky Rabies. I love it. But, no, it'll be interesting. It's just the thing is that they're running out of time to obviously get something worked out here. So, a big question mark, folks, you can put on Punk right now, especially while there's legal issues still there.
Because the problem Khan has, too, is if he lets Punk keep saying, well, I'm going to be there, and then he ends up not being there, you're going to have a lot of pissed off ticket holders.
Yes, especially there, especially in Chicago. We all know he's beloved there. Like when anybody goes home, it's just like when MJF comes back to Long Island, he gets revered, even though he's a heel, so it's...
it's like for us old people, it's like whenever the Hard Juice show up in Calgary.
Yes. Exactly that. And Brett and Owen, I mean, anywhere in Canada, but mainly in Alberta.
Yeah. Calgary, Alberta was their main stomping ground. Yeah, they
just like Jericho when he goes, even though he was born in New York, he gets a big home reception in Winnipeg because he grew up in Winnipeg.
Right.
So, it's the same deal for him. And it's going to get interesting. And then, of course...
You know what Tony could do? I mean, and this is just off the cuff. I don't know how it works. They could give CM Punk a short-term contract.
Yeah.
Until they work on the longer-term one. To get him, make sure he's in the show, do your thing, and then see if they can work out a more...
Because that was the whole
favorable contract later on.
Yeah, I mean, that was the whole point that they chose, and that I'm glad that they did go there. They chose the United Center in Chicago was because they had in their mind, obviously, that's where he was going to return.
Right.
And, why not, in his hometown.
But you can't let him think he holds the trump card.
No.
You cannot do that.
Exactly. No. And of course, that leads us into our next little topic before we get into talk about these pay-per-views. So I know there's some people out there that'll be like, that are Goldberg fans that'll be cheering for this. There's a lot of people like myself that are just like, okay. But Tony Khan has confirmed talks with Goldberg. We've heard the rumors that he was looking at Goldberg just for a marquee name, I guess you could say, for this big Wembley show, and they do need marquee names, I think. He says he has a great relationship with the WWE Hall of Famer, and he's looking to sign him to AEW. Don't know if I would guess it'd be for just a short-term contract. It wouldn't be anything long-term, but especially in the post-Double or Nothing media scrum, Khan was asked by interviewers if he had a conversation with Bill after previously showing interest in the veteran star free agency, because he is free agent. He said, yeah, I have. He goes, I have talked to Bill. It wouldn't be that unusual. I've talked to Bill when he's not been under contract at times, and I have a good relationship with him. I have had a good conversation with him, but I've had a lot of great conversations with Bill, even nothing to do with signing contracts. Now, the AEW president also spoke about what he and Goldberg have in common and expressed his admiration for Goldberg's family and how they've helped Jacksonville, Florida. He said Bill's family have done a lot of great things in Jacksonville. Bill's related to the Wolfson family, who built the Wolfson Children's Hospital in Jacksonville. He's a great former football star as well. I work a lot in football, as everybody knows, so we have a lot in common. And they have a lot of mutual friends. So they talk all the time. The rumour going around was that he wants to try and get him signed to a contract before All In. And, you know... he's looking at it, I guess, as you could say, a big name star like Goldberg, you know, could be a great attraction for that pay-per-view, especially in such a big stadium. You know, he's still a household name in wrestling. You know, he's a Hall of Famer, whether you like him or you don't. And we all know he can barely go 5 minutes in the freaking ring now. But... again, people just hear or see that name, and if they were a fan growing up, you know, it's instantly going to draw them in. What's your feelings on this, Paul? Do you think he's going to get him, and do you think he's going to be on the card at All In?
I'm torn because, I mean, if he looks at all like he did back then, great. But if he looks like Butterbean, no. You know?
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing. He looked good when he was, even in his last WWE run. He did look good, but
right,
looking good and having the stamina in the ring, obviously, as we know, are two different things. And he looked puffed. That's the problem. As good as he looked, which he looked gym good, like he kept himself in shape. He was obviously still hitting the gym.
But he didn't necessarily keep his stamina up. He didn't. No. He probably wasn't doing track and stuff like
The poor bastard was sweating just coming down to the ring, and then within about a minute after the bell had rung, he just looked out of steam, you know, really puffed. Hence why they had such short matches. Even his matches with Brock weren't that long. You know.
You know what, though? That's something that, I mean, if he really wanted to come back, that's something he could work on, because if he's physically in that shape, then he's just got to, you know, he's got to do the stamina stuff. He's got to do the treadmill. He's got to do the, you know, the bike, you know.
Exactly. I'm just trying to think, though, if they bring him in. I know that I've mentioned it before. I already know there's one young man on the AEW roster who would love to have a match with him. Because he was obviously an inspiration for him getting in the wrestling business, and that's Wardlow. That would be a good match from power perspective, as long as Goldberg could at least go 10 minutes. Because you don't want to...
Yeah. And you know what would be an old school draw for some of the old fans would just get him and Jericho in the same damn ring again, you know?
Yeah, even that.
They're from the same era, pretty much. Goldberg was still active when Jericho was in there, wasn't he? Yeah.
Well, Jericho actually started before him. Like he was in the cruiserweight division in WCW,
right?
And Goldberg got brought in, and they had a little feud in WCW. And it was actually quite interesting, you know, because of the way Jericho can sort of play off people and play off the crowd, and that. So it would be good. It would be good. That would probably be another match I'd look at if they didn't want to do him and Wardlow, would be Goldberg and Jericho. They're both in their 50s.
Yeah, I was just going to say, just from the, you know, nostalgia's a hell of a drug thing, even in wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, because, I mean, how many of us, you know, at least for a few years, every time Hogan would come back and they would have him face one of his old rivals, be like, okay, I want to see this just to see it. Yeah, you know,
exactly.
just to...
Exactly. Hey, what's up, Yobi? Peace, love, life, brother. Peace, love, life. But I mean, him and Jericho would probably be a fine match. Jericho, you know, even if he gets in at least half decent shape to have his stamina up there, Jericho could still carry him a little bit. You know, because Jericho's still even at his age, he's still kind of at the top of his game. And I mean, he still does the line.
I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember if Goldberg had good mic game. I seem to recall he did sometimes.
He didn't have too bad. I'd never put him up there in the higher echelon, obviously.
No,
and
but he was able to hold his own.
Yeah. Jericho obviously would because Jericho's just a masterclass on that microphone.
Right.
So he's at another level again, but they could carry a feud together. I mean, him and Wardlow, though, if they had a match, I mean, they could just grunt at each other, and look mean and circle each other like sharks, that'd probably be enough, and it'd be good, it'd be a par, I guess, in that sense, if you go with the Wardlow match, it'd be a kind of a passing of the torch.
Yeah. And you just got to hope that he doesn't hurt Wardlow. To be blunt, because he's known that he used to hurt people.
Yeah,
because he wouldn't be careful. Because he wouldn't be.
That's why I don't really like the man, because he ended Bret Hart's career too soon.
Right.
And I know I'm, as a Bret Hart fan, so still a bit sore on him for that. Because he wasn't watching what he was doing when he threw a kick, and Bret was heavily concussed. Had nothing but issues with his head for about a year or two before, getting it fixed and everything. But it essentially, and he cost him millions. He cost Bret Hart millions and millions of dollars. And it just sucked, because Bret Hart was one of the finest wrestlers you'd ever see, especially from a technical standpoint.
Oh yeah, from a technical standpoint, he was unmatched.
He was. And so it was a shame. He easily could have gone probably another 5-10 years easy, Bret Hart. He kept himself in phenomenal shape. To my knowledge, never had any. He might have had some niggling injury, but he never had any major injuries where it kept him out for long periods of time. He was.
No, I know that more than once he broke a rib coming down on the rope a bit.
That's probably the worst thing. Yeah, that's probably the worst thing. Yeah, he never broke a leg. He never had anything wrong with his back like Shawn Michaels or anything like that. So he knew how to work. Stu Hart. Yeah. Stu Hart taught his boys very well. And. He already
almost there. Everybody that went through the dungeon, as they called it, really knew their stuff.
I think Jericho is one of the last students too. And look at his longevity. He's another one that's never really had any real serious injuries. When he's taken time off, it's generally just that he wants time off. So they have that longevity. They know what they're doing. They're trained that well. Even to the point that they know how to take a bump, how to land, etc. It'll be interesting. Obviously, Tony's a big fan, obviously, of Goldberg, and he understands that he's a big draw. I hope it's just for, maybe one match, maybe two matches at most. That's probably all you're going to really get out of him. But that would be enough. If you're looking...
But even then, if he could be decent on the mic, what they need is something that even I think WWE needs right now, is they need some of the older wrestlers to be working the ringside, to be working the announce table, to be that's what they used to do in the old days, to drive I know. And I want to talk about that a little bit later too, with the NXT thing. Boy, do I have some things to say about that piece.
But honestly, he could. The reason why I say he could do commentating. Now, he hasn't done wrestling commentating himself, but he has done because he's a big motorsport guy, Goldberg.
Right.
And he's done commentating on motorsport, so it wouldn't be a difficult transition for him. And, I mean, look what they've done with Big Show and Mark Henry. Yeah. Taz transition. Well,
and what they used to do, when they used to do the commentating, I mean, look at, again, I know I'm going way back because I'm an old man, but even when Jesse Ventura and Gorilla Monsoon, every once in a while, something would occur story-wise that they would end up in the ring and take a bump.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, Yobi.
Or it's just...
Yeah, I was just looking at Yobi's comment. Yeah, you're not wrong. It'll never happen, though. Even in the most recent interview I've seen of Bret, he despises, he literally hates Goldberg's guts. He will not... He's pissed off because Goldberg didn't even apologize to him. And he they ran into each other like a year or a year and a half. He tells the story that they ran into each other a year and a half, and Goldberg kind of said, oh, sorry about that kind of thing. But like Brett just didn't believe the words, and there's a lot of disdain there. Put it this way, he's got more disdain. I can't believe I would ever say this, but it's true. He's got more disdain for Goldberg than he does for McMahon.
Well, yeah, because he's worked with McMahon a few times since the stuff with Owen happened.
Yeah, they hashed.
Yeah.
and since, he obviously didn't like what McMahon did to him with the screw job. Right. Because he wasn't See, the reason why he was pissed off about that is no one talked to him before the match. No one let him in on what was going on, and that's what annoyed him.
I read some of his statements just after we all talked about it, where he said, "Yeah."
Well, we know McMahon did it because he was pissed off. Brett was going to WCW, and look, okay, you're angry that one of your top stars is leaving. I get that, but with what he did for your company, he also carried your company through a very lull period. Which was known as the New Era, and they were doing some weird gimmicks and stuff like that. Bret Hart carried that company on his back before the Attitude Era. And to do that to him, you could have still done a whole screw job storyline. That's fine, but to not even inform him, talk him through it, he had no idea. He was left completely in the dark, and that's what Vince did do wrong. And he did it he obviously did it from an emotional place. He did it out of anger, as I said, because he was angry Brett was leaving. But at that point, Brett just, I think it was more that Brett just didn't kind of feel like he was getting that respect still that he once did from Vince. And then, of course, WCW at the time was throwing money around left, right, and centre and offered him a massive, I think he said it was like almost triple the amount that Vince was paying him. Like, they were often ridiculous money contracts. Half the reason why a lot of those big names went there. I don't even really think that they cared that the product wasn't as good. It's the fact that the dollar signs, and money talks, and it's And, I mean, it'd be good if Brett and Goldberg could sit it down, like, in the sense that Brett can let go of that hate, because as I said, he had held hate for McMahon for so long, not just for the screwjob, but as you said, Paul, because of what happened with Owen, and he was able to finally let that go, and it's not good for people to hold that kind of anger. So maybe one day, maybe they will, but I don't see it in the foreseeable future. Like, Brett's, when you cost someone almost $20 million, I can understand why he's angry, I think it was about 16 or 17 to be exact, around that sort of mark Brett's mentioned. But, that's a lot of money to cost somebody. It was money, and it was the fact that he wasn't ready to retire, which is understandable. He was still at the top of his game, even though WCW did not. They brought him in, and that was just a waste. It really was, the way they handled Bret Hart.
Right.
It really was. He thought they were going to bring him in. He was going to do this big program with Hogan. And like we've talked about before, they end up just, oh, no, we're going to avoid that because Hogan really doesn't want to wrestle you. I wonder why, because Bret could wrestle circles around him. And he would. He'd make him foolish. Again,
because Bret Hart was the technician, and
And Hogan ducked him.
Hulk Hogan is more everything's a nail and I'm a hammer. Yeah.
And Hogan ducked him a bit, and like that was the whole storyline they were going to play off. Like, you ran to WCW because you ran away from me, and that's what they were going to go and play off. And it could have been a big payoff. It really could have, just as big a payoff as what Sting and Hogan was. Because Hogan and Hart started in the WWF, and there was animosity back then, sort of backstage between, not real hatred, but just animosity, and Brett sort of just didn't like some things, and Hogan swinging his.
Well, I think with Hogan, a lot of it was ego. A lot of it was ego driven with Hogan.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, let's get into. Now we covered that. Let's get into these 3 pay-per-views. Let's dissect them and go over the go over the results. Hey, we can start with Night of Champions, obviously, because that was the first one that dropped out of the three major ones. For me, it was about a 5.5. I might maybe push it to a 6 out of 10. I thought Night of Champions was probably the worst out of the three, in my opinion. Seth and AJ, I mean, it writes itself. That was probably the match of the night, as we know. With Seth, Seth
that was a really fire match.
Oh yeah. And then I'd say, Asuka and Bianca was probably the best of the women's matches, for sure. Because I'm going to get to that in the other one in a minute. I'm going to use this word. I was disgusted at the way they handled Natalia. But we'll get to that in a second.
And that it wasn't even really a match. It was like a 2-minute intermission. What the hell was it?
Yeah, exactly. And here's the thing: on her birthday, right? On her damn birthday. This is a woman. Actually, we'll talk about it now before we get in there. Now that we're on it. She's been loyal to that company for so damn long. She has no problem putting women over. No, she's helped train a lot of these younger women coming through. She helped train Rhea, right? To do her like that was, excuse the language, but it's true. It was bullshit. It was utter bullshit. You couldn't give those two women 10 minutes to... The thing why it annoys me, and this is no shade at Selena, right? But Selena is tiny compared to even Natalia. And you gave Selena her time to shine and have a decent match with Rhea at the last pay-per-view. But you're going to tell me that Rhea then, from a storyline perspective, and it, to me it just doesn't seem believe, can just squash someone that's a bigger build than little Selena? Like... If they did a squash match with Selena, I'd still be annoyed with it. Like, why would you do that to another decent talent? But it would make more sense because of the size difference between Rhea and Selena, right? And especially you're going with this route that Rhea's this big monster, heel, unstoppable force in the women's division. But to do Natalia like that, they lose points for me from that because that.
Well, the problem I had was they didn't even really wrestle. I mean, because most of the damage was done outside the ring. No. Let's throw her into the ring post. Let's throw her into the table. Let's throw her into the stairs. Okay, let's throw her back in the ring and pin her. Ta-da! It's over.
Yeah. I didn't get it because they did still have enough time. As I said, they could have at least given them, around the 10-minute mark even, and still had Natalia put some offense in. Even apply the sharpshooter and Rhea powers out of it. You're like, we all knew that. Like, I was just
there was no. In fact, there was no offense there, was there? It was all just her getting flung around. It was her getting flung around like a rag doll. And we knew, I can.
Yeah, we knew that she was going to lose. We knew they're not going to take the belt off Rhea this soon. But come on, like. I don't understand, because there was even people asking the question after we were like, is Natalia in the doghouse backstage? Well, there's been no reports that she's in the doghouse or anything like that. As I said, she's one of the trainers for the females.
Right.
And again, like I mentioned, she has no problem putting... She would have been fine putting Rhea over. She loves Rhea. Rhea's one of her students. But I just didn't think it needed to be a squash match. Yeah. And then it comes back to, she is a heart. So I put it down to, that company's never really always done the right thing by the Hart family. This is just another case. This is just another case in point.
Yeah.
I thought she.
It seemed like they had all these matches and they didn't, like you said, they didn't have. It almost feels like they didn't have time, and they went, "Okay, we're just going to just go out there and lose real quick."
Yeah, they didn't plan it properly at all. And again, I'm looking at the times
and did
now.
You say? And did you say her contract's about up anyway?
I think it comes up in a few more months. Yeah. But even so, even if she probably might end up. I don't know what she'll end up doing. Yeah. But if I was her after this, I'd leave. I really would, because
What was the time on that match? Less than 5 minutes?
It was it was a minute 5 seconds.
That was that was the whole thing. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Okay.
They obviously had the shortest bout on there, and it was just so wrong. Again, because just the loyalty that Natalia has shown to that company, I thought she deserved better. It's got, it's not even got anything to do with her birthday. I've just thought that was an extra ice on the cake, a bit fucked up that you did it to her on her birthday, but it's got nothing to do with her birthday. It's just the fact that here's a woman that's put her body on the line for over a decade for you now, that's been loyal, that's never questioned nothing, never left, always done the right thing. As far as off the top of my head that I can remember, never really been in the doghouse, never been in trouble, and she helps train, Rhea and all these new young women coming through. She's got no problem putting younger talent over, so she is exactly what you would want in a worker. She's a fantastic worker. She's loyal. She helps out. She does everything right. That's all of that. When you think about it, she deserved better than that. She deserved better. Yeah. Even if it was 7 minutes, like just as I said, close to 10. Even if it was 7 minutes, and you gave her some offense, and she got it, as I said, got it down, applied the sharpshooter. Then you had Rhea, monster out of the sharpshooter, like, no one barely gets out of the sharpshooter. Look at Rhea, look at her do this, and breaks. It could have made for. I actually thought it could have made for a better win for Rhea. I don't think this squash match over Natalia does anything for her.
The only thing I can think of, they might be trying to set up something bigger and better story-wise.
It would be nice.
If they do something with it. Yeah, please do something with it.
I hope. I really hope. Otherwise, it's like, okay, on to the next, and it'll just suck. Like, obviously, Natalia will be fine, but I just don't, as I said, I just don't feel...
I already don't remember the draft. Is Rhea on Monday?
Yes.
Or is she on Friday?
No,
Rhea's on Monday.
Remember, they both swapped over, but they've still both got the opposition's belt. So she's still got the SmackDown belt, but she's on Raw. And Asuka has now got the Raw.
So maybe they're setting up something bigger, but that was an ugly way. That was a boring way to do it.
It was.
It's like hype up this big bad match and then don't do anything.
Yeah, they had a good lead in too. That's why I thought they, as I said, they deserve somewhere in between 5 to 10 minutes. And even if they just had 5. Natalia still could have got that little bit of offense in, which would have made it.
But my problem with Rhea and with what's his name, her little slave dog,
Dominic,
and even Dominic, and even with Roman and those guys, as long as they have their backup available to them, they're not going to win a match fairly. They're not going to, always something's going to happen. Somebody's going to fuck with somebody. Sorry.
Yeah.
But know what I mean.
No. Yeah, but like...
and sometimes that gets old. Sometimes that really gets old because there's no surprise there. Oh my gosh, he's messing with... No kidding.
No, exactly.
It's like, that's what they do, yeah.
And again, the other women's match lived up to it. Like Bianca and Asuka, that was
a fun match to watch. Was a fun match to watch.
And I was glad. I knew once they got Bianca to break that record, I was like, okay, it's only a matter of time now. I thought it was appropriate. Because I thought they were going to have Asuka beat her at WrestleMania, and then I didn't realize that she hadn't reached a certain milestone. And then now that she did, I was like, okay, we need to get Asuka over here, especially with this new real badass heel character. And it was time. It was time. Bianca had held it well over a year. She's a fantastic worker. Doesn't hurt her in the least. And like we discussed last podcast, now this gives her a reason to, if they follow through with the rumors out there, to turn a heel. Getting all upset about losing and stuff like that. Obviously, it's probably going to be one of those slow burn. They're not going to just instantly turn a heel, but
no, but like we said, she can eat that gray area very well.
Yes,
she can.
Yes. Gunter and Mustafa was exactly what I thought it was going to be. I was glad to see. Put it this way, I thought if there was going to be a squash match, it was going to be that. But I was glad that they gave Mustafa time you know, and
Yeah.
and sort of from a story perspective made it look like the underdog could have pulled it off, but we all knew it wasn't going to happen. But
Right.
it was great to see. It was what it was. Same with the Trish Stratus Becky match. That was what it was.
Actually, yeah, I enjoyed that match, actually.
The only thing that surprised me was it just didn't make any sense from her story because she was never involved. Why Zoe Stark was brought into, I was like, huh? What the hell? What's this? Obviously, that's
but from a technical standpoint, it was fun to watch. From a wrestling standpoint, it was, yeah.
I still thought they could have had Trish win, even if she did something else dirty or something like that. But I just didn't think Zoe was really needed for it because I was like, this is like random as hell.
Yeah, it is.
Because Zoe was.
But again, they might be using it to set something up.
I think that'll be
Zoe
the longer. I think that might be the longer term feud, like Zoe and Becky, which makes a lot of sense. That they're both sort of they're the yin and the yang kind of thing, like to each other. I guess you could say a bit there. So that should get interesting. Brock and Cody. That was just sad. In my opinion, it was worse than their last match. It was worse than their last match. Yeah. And I was surprised by the finish. I was very surprised.
Yeah, the finish actually kind of pissed me off. Okay, we're gonna have you pass out.
Yeah.
What? Stop that.
Okay, now I go back to a match which made more sense, right? And I'm not saying people can't pass out due to pain, right? But I've also seen people with broken limbs not pass out to pain. But when you remember the old match that really put Stone Cold on the map, him and Bret Hart, and Austin was profusely bleeding from his head, and he passed out due to blood loss. Now, that makes sense, right? That makes sense. This didn't, and I just don't know. I said to Trin...
Yeah, I don't know where they're going. I don't know where they're going with this. No, I really don't.
Because now you've had them both win, so it's kind of evident to me that there's going to be there's going to be a rubber match, which I was like, oh, God. Because even in the first match, you could tell these two don't have chemistry whatsoever. They just don't have... And it was really on show in this match. They don't have that chemistry together in the ring. Brock's had plenty of good chemistry with other people, but him and Cody, it's just very awkward. And I don't know what this does. I said to Trin the other day after watching, I said, I've now gone from, I believe, where I could see this story going and him defeating Roman, but now I'm not so sure. Now,
my problem is even when what's his name, Brock, does his full-on anger yelly thing, I'm not buying it.
No, you know what I mean?
It doesn't sell.
No,
no,
not any. It may have back at a point in time. It may have, but it just now it doesn't.
But it looks forced. It looks forced now.
It does. Like, yeah. Not compared to young Brock when he used to, do the Raw and everything. That looked a bit more natural and stuff. But yeah, this really perturbed me. It really did. They had 9.5 minutes. And yeah, I didn't think they could do a worse match than their first match, and they did. And I just don't know where this puts Cody. I mean, sure, Cody can...
Well, to me, almost it feels like where this puts Cody is we're not going to see Cody till the next pay-per-view because he's got to let that arm heal.
Yeah.
I'm tired of this broken arm shit.
And then... It's like... Yeah, and like... I'm not so sure that... Now, I'm just getting this thing, like... I thought my way of looking at it was, okay, going into this... It probably isn't going to be the best match again because, again, they don't really have the chemistry. But they were going to have Cody beat him again, which really would make him, back on that, look strong and back on that path to go after it. Like, oh, he's just taken the beast down, not once, but twice. And do the whole building him back up like John Cena. And then you go do that in the first match, but then you have him lose in this match. Like, now where does the story go, And so I've thought about two things. Either they're going to...
By the way, in real life, if I'm wearing a titanium arm brace, if I'm hitting you in the head with it, you're not getting back up.
Well, I'm surprised
I don't
Brock...
give a shit.
He did it in the first match. He got hit several times with that and then, proclaiming it's titanium. Why was he not busted open? That's what I don't get. That would have made it even more better, but
that's why I still lay claim to that him getting busted open in that first match was non-intended. I still claim that.
No, a lot of people say it was intended, but I don't think he was meant to hit the turnbuckle that hard with his face.
Yeah.
I don't think he was meant to hit that hard because I think the cut was deeper than probably what they initially wanted. That's hence why he was bleeding.
Well, from the looks of it, he had 2 or 3 stitches in his head.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And so, hey Charlie, what's good, brother? What's good?
Hey Charlie.
So, it was interesting.
Yeah.
And where they go from here, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really have this feeling
they're supposed to address it tonight. I hope they do.
I have this feeling they might drop the ball on this fucking thing. And the thing that annoys me is they put in his contract, and he's going to regret going back there and signing with them if he doesn't get a title run. And it has to be Roman's titles. It can't be the world title. It just can't. You know.
Yeah.
Maybe at a later time, once he's beat Roman, then say had a run and then drop those titles. Yeah, sure, you want to put the world title on him then. That's all well and good, but the first time around, it needs to be Roman's title. That's the title because this world title didn't exist. That's not what he was going after. But I just don't know. Now you're gonna have to. It's like okay. So
yeah, I honestly think at this point they might be trying to hold off till next WrestleMania to give him the belt. So they can finish the story.
That's the other.
So they can finish the story of his father could never do it, but he did it. I really think that's where they're aiming.
Yeah, Yobi even pretty much agrees with it. He goes, he was meant to hit the turnbuckle. Yeah, and I agree, he was, but not that hard. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he went a bit too hard. He
wasn't supposed to stop it with his face like that. Yeah.
No. He was going into that turnbuckle like he was going like one of those pie eating contests, and your hands are tied behind your back, like whoa, he ate that. He ate that, bro. What's the OB here? I think what they will do once the bloodline is done, and it's just Roman on his own, then it will be Cody versus Roman again. Yeah.
Do you think they'll try to push it to next WrestleMania?
I think so now too. Which then goes into what we talked about, I think, on the first pod, where there was the rumors going around that they want him to break Hogan's record. Now, there's only one reason I'd want to do it. I mean, besides that, I've never been a Hulk Hogan fan, but there's only one reason. They've been about rewriting the history. I'd love him to do that because in that wrestling, Hogan's lost a lot of credibility and a lot of respect for not just stuff he did behind the scenes but all that crap outside too.
Yeah, the stuff that's come to light over the last couple of years makes you kind of go, huh.
And so, if I was WWE, I wouldn't want him still in that longest title reign, because that's a big deal kind of thing. And
I hate to say it, but they pretty much, Benoit's non-existent in the WWE, no matter how big he was. But they can't do that with Hogan. They gotta kind of wease him out of there. They kind of just.
See, they'll still obviously he'll still be because Hulkamania was a big thing and all that, and obviously then when he did the NWO thing, but having him out of the history books though, that's one way they can do it. Because I think they sit there, they look at that and go, and especially Vince and I don't fucking want that bastard on that list, So, I think having Roman do it for purely that reason, I'd love to see it. It's just a matter of...
I don't know how they do it, though. I mean, it's going to be hard to push Roman that long without his family there behind him.
Yeah, unless they do obviously they've already done this with Jimmy turning. We don't know yet with Jay, because Jay reacted the exact same way, which we'll talk about in a second. He reacted. He could win Academy Award, Jay. I'm telling you, Jay deserves that with his acting. But he reacted the exact same way when Sammy hit Roman in the back with the chair. Exactly, bent over, like, no, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I was like, hey, where have I seen this before? This happened at what was it? Was it No Way Out? Was it No Way Out? That's the pay-per-view it was, wasn't it? No Way Out.
Yeah.
And, in Montreal. And, I was like, he's doing the same thing again. So they could draw that out with Jay maybe a little bit long, but they could really do a slow burn. You could drag this further. You could do a real slow burn with Solo, because Solo ain't going to turn on him just yet. He might turn on his brothers because they kicked him in the face by accident. But from a story perspective, we know how they're going to go. He's going to still blame, like, you kicked me in the face. Like, well, you fucking... You know, like, they never go, play it as, it was an accident, you know. But they could still do a bit of a slow burn here with it, like, and drag it out a little bit with the Solo stuff. And even if once they do get to a point that Roman is on his own, as long as he's got Heyman by his side...
right.
You could draw it out till next WrestleMania. They just got to make sure they keep it fresh. You know, keep.
There's somebody I would pay money to see take a bump from Cody. I'll take it serious.
I know, yeah.
Just one time. Just one time.
Now that he's got 1,000, Chuck, he's got to go. I think it's 480 days more now, and he breaks the record, because I think
which will be right up to next year's WrestleMania. It sounds like.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not that difficult to see, and I think, especially because they brought back the world heavyweight title, I think even more so they may do that, and that rumor that's been out there may end up becoming true, because they've got another world championship there for people to defend and have it every pay-per-view. And that's the other thing. They can draw this out with the same way they've been drawing it out. Roman's not on every SmackDown. He's not on every pay-per-view. You could have him in tag matches at times where he's obviously not like at this pay-per-view. He's not defending the belt. So yeah, I could see him drawing out. Once he beats Hogan's record, he's definitely got to lose it, because you're not going to get away with having him beat Bruno's. He'd have to go 9 years. Or 8 years or 9 years, you know, to beat Bruno. Oh, no, be a little less now because he's already up to 3 years. So 5 or 6 more years, they're not going to have him as champion.
I don't see that happening in today's world.
Plus, I wouldn't want to do that. That Bruno deserves that top spot, especially for that era. He was the king back then of wrestling, of many territories too, and you know, that will, in my opinion, will never ever be broken. That will never ever be replicated. No company's going to have the same champion for 9 years straight. You just not in today's day and age. But yeah, Roman, they could definitely break Hogan. I think that is the plan. I really do now. I think they're going to have him beat Hogan's record, which I think is fantastic. Someone needed to do it eventually, because even as a fan, because I'm not a Hogan fan, even I wanted someone to beat that, and I was like, so it's around the 1,500 day mark. Okay, that's not too bad, you know. As long as you had an interesting champion, you know, doable.
Well, see, that's the part where you and I differ. I don't find Roman that interesting.
I only find him... No. I don't find him interesting. I'll find him interesting because of Paul Heyman. That's why I find him interesting. You know, because I'm not the biggest Brock fan either. But Brock was interesting when he was teamed with Paul because Paul made him interesting, you know. And, you know, that whole thing with him, Paul, and Solo... as I said, could play out for a bit longer now. Like they're already breaking the Usos away. That's the start. But they could do a big...
Or at least one of the Usos, yeah.
At least one of the Usos, yeah. At least one, definitely. Jimmy definitely isn't it. But I have a feeling something big's going to happen at SmackDown with that 1,000-day celebration. Like, maybe Jay turns as well then, who knows. Or he's probably going to have to. They won't be able to do a slow burn with Jay as what they'll be able to do with Solo, because
I was really hoping it was going to be what's his name? That it was going to be what's his name that turned
Solo.
Solo, the angry animal.
I was
really hoping.
Yeah.
But this worked too. We were right in that. So one of them was going to turn. We knew one of them was going to cost him the match.
We did pick it. We just didn't know which one. But
that's right.
Yeah, I thought it was, you know, as you thought it was going to be Solo. I thought it was actually going to be Jay, because Jay's realistically, he's always been the more hot-headed one out of him and Jimmy. Jimmy's been the smiley, like, chilled one. To see Jimmy be the hothead, and Jay trying to be the voice of reason, even though, you know, because I was waiting for it. I was waiting for Jay, but when Roman shoved him twice, I'm like, here we go. And then it would have been cool to see, like, once Jimmy's getting through to him, hey, I'm doing what you should have done a long time ago. I would have loved to see them both super kick him the second time around. I would have loved to see him. You know, from that storybook point of, like I said to Trin, like, they're sick of getting bullied. They're sick of getting, you know, used and abused. And see, he doesn't do that. Well,
they're almost playing the one brother like basically he's the victim. He's that victim you always see, that no matter how badly he's treated, he feels some kind of allegiance to his abuser, basically.
And did you? I see what you say, Yobi. Did you also did everybody that watched the pay-per-view hear when Jimmy and Jay are going back up, Jay doesn't yell out Roman. He yells out his proper real name. He goes Joe.
Yeah.
Said, I was like, oh no, were you meant to say that? Were you meant to say that?
Oops.
But no. That's right, Yobi. They're going with the whole confused story.
I heard it, but it didn't register because it's like,
as soon as I heard it, I'm like, oh, that's his real name. That's Roman's real name. Yeah. Joe. He's like, Joe. And then Jimmy's like, no, I'm your brother. You know, so, but they do it. That whole thing with Jay, his reaction, that's rehashed from Sammy. He was acting confused. He didn't know what to do and which way to go. You know, I just hope this is not, because they're just too good together. I hope they're not going to break the Usos up and have Jay turn on Jimmy. But they might. They might. In the
end, well, because they like to play the family against each other. They like to play father against son, brother against brother. You know?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. He said it 3 times. He meant to say Joe to all realism. That was a spot on storytelling. It was amazing. Yeah, I agree there. It possibly could be. And, you know, they're all you know, as we know, they're our family. They're all very, very close.
They're all related, yeah.
Yeah, they would have went back. I'm telling you, I say it all the time. It's funny, you get these fans that get so into it and they really believe that two guys, and I said, look, these two guys portray they hate each other's guts on the TV and they go backstage and have a beer. You know what I mean? Like, they're backstage having a beer and having a laugh together, like, you know, talking how good the match was. I've seen it and heard about it numerous times.
Though they are expected when they're out in public, if they're seen together, to kind of put on that show. You know?
They are, but I've been to it.
Not to the point of getting violent, but they can't be all chummy. And
hey yo, PK, what's good, bro? I've been to enough wrestling shows and also stayed just by coincidence at a lot of hotels that the wrestlers are staying at. At the bars of the hotels, you know, obviously they're not exactly, well, they're still in public, I suppose, you know, people that are at the hotel, but they're not in public. But I've seen a heel and a babyface sitting down laughing, you know, because they're friends and they're talking over their match. And, you know, they're all friends. They're all, majority of them are. There is, don't get me wrong, there is some that do.
Yeah, some of them really don't like each other.
No, there is. Yeah. I mean, even Jericho and Goldberg had heat for a while.
Yeah.
They almost got into a scrap backstage. Booker T got into a scrap with somebody backstage. I think it was Batista.
Booker T. He's one of the people I want to talk about tonight.
Yes. So we can move on to now the second pay-per-view, which was the first. Well, it was basically going at the same time, but I think it may have started slightly a little bit sooner than
the pre-show started at 7:30. The pre-show started a half hour early.
So, well, if you want. Start on Booker, before we get in the matches, start on Booker T. I will let you have your little rant here.
That man is boring, okay? He has no business. He has no business being ringside. You know, I remember Booker T used to be full of energy and strength and power. Here it was like, yeah, he really needs to go fast. Like, Booker, wake up. Good God, man. At least act like you're watching the match, okay? I mean, Oh no, he has no ringside presence at all. He really doesn't. You know, I mean, I even went so far as to tweet and tag them and say somebody needs to go wake Booker up. He's killing the mood. You know.
Yeah. But no, he's I don't know. There was something just a bit off about his commentating this time around. Usually he's not too bad. But yeah, I don't know. It wasn't his best.
I mean,
work,
have you watched it? Did you hear it? I mean, it was.
Yes, yeah. it really was, which was bad considering how good the pay-per-view itself was from the matchups.
From the matchup side, but you need that ringside energy to drive the show. You really do.
Yeah.
You know, that's why all WWE works, WWF, because they had not only what was happening inside the ring, but all the stuff with the announce table.
Yeah.
You know, was also fun to listen to and fun to get involved with.
Yeah.
You know, like I said last week, you know, I'm going to go see Tito Santana in a couple of weeks, and I'm going to be so tempted to call him Chico every time. You know, just because that's what he was always called from Jesse Ventura. Chico. He was always called Chico. He never got his name right, ever. You know?
Hey, what's good,
but
Carlo?
That was part of the fun.
Carlo's dropped by. What's good, Carlo?
Hey, Carlo.
But no, like, as I said, I've always loved Booker. Loved him as a wrestler. I thought he was.
Oh, I loved him as a wrestler too, and I thought he used to work the mic pretty well. But
he was off his. Yeah, I live in groove that he was off his game this pay per view, because other pay per views he's been fine on NXT every week. He's fine, but I don't know. There was just something.
Also, I don't know if you caught the pre-show. Even the pre-show to me was boring. I don't like the people they had in the pre-show. They almost like they were trying to play it straight, and it's like, oh my God, you sound like a QVC person trying to sell shit.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and one of the guys is just really hard to listen to. I'm like, ooh. And I had to remind myself that NXT is part of WWE.
Yes.
Because the two products do not look at all alike. You know.
No. NXT's the best brand that they've got going, in my opinion, and it has been for a while.
It is, but I didn't care for the way they did the pre-show, and it was so low energy.
Yeah, because
so
you had that.
Like,
you had Megan, you had Matt, and you had that Sam Roberts.
Yeah,
they're not exactly.
And I don't know
people.
Which one of the bald guy was really, really boring. I don't know which one that is.
That might have been Matt. Yeah. Oh no, it was Sam. He used to have.
Okay.
He's actually a redhead. He used to have a head full of hair, but he's shaved bald. Yeah.
So much for that.
Yeah.
but no, I was really, really bored for that whole thing and going, what is this? This is so bad.
Yeah. And you're not wrong. Like, that pre-show was not great. They've had better pre-shows before. But yeah, that's why I usually skip over the pre-show.
Even the produced stuff they did with the wrestlers was so low key. I mean, it was like, I almost felt like junior high kids were doing their news production. It's like, come on, it can't be this bad.
Yeah. But getting into the matchups, and they had 6 on the card.
Right.
The first matchup, as we've seen, that was a great way to start. Wesley obviously retaining, which was a bit of a shock to me. I actually thought, and I said it on the last pod, that Joe Gacy might get the sneaky win in this, but
right. It
was a fantastic match. It really was. It was probably one of the better triple threat matches I've seen in a little while. All the guys did extremely well. I just thought Ava didn't have much presence on the outside. She was there being the cheerleader, but I thought she might have had a little bit more presence, really.
At one point, they kind of drew her in and made a focus on her to say, "Yeah, she's out there." So
that's all they did. Yeah, I was like, "Yep, there she is, the Rock's daughter." She's but no, the match again was a fire way to start.
Yep.
And then, of course, that led into the the British round rules match for the Heritage Cup.
That was just weird to me. The whole Heritage Cup thing. It felt more like a boxing match.
Yeah.
We're gonna go 3 rounds and then we're gonna rest and then we're gonna go, we're gonna go 3 minutes, rest 3 minutes. It's like you're boxing. It's a boxing match.
Stop, start. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. It was uber talented, like 2 uber talented guys. And when they were going, it was fantastic, which I expected it to be. Again, I in my prediction I got it wrong because I thought they were actually finally going to give Dragon Lee a big win since signing him, and he really hasn't had the big win. I've kind of gone, what are they doing with him? Like, he was huge in AAA and on the indie scene. I thought that he was one of the big free agents out there, and they've signed him. And as I said, he's lost more than he's won, which I don't know if that really helps him character wise and development wise, but it was still a good match.
It was weird at the end when they ejected everybody from ringside. And then all of a sudden,
it was funny. Nathan Fraser and then he dived through the ropes, and I was like, because I like Nathan Fraser.
Some of that stuff looked really good.
Just added to it.
So one thing I can say is I'm always saying WWE is always a little slow. NXT is not. They really, those matches were boom. They were quick. They were there was not a whole lot of there was not a whole lot of standing around and staring at each other like there is.
No, they take a more AEW approach with the pacing, and I mean they have their storyline and they do their builds very well. But it, like you said, when it comes to the nitty gritty, it's boom, 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 boom. There's not that long drawn out parts in between the action, which is good.
Right.
And of course the next match, the last man stand. Oh man, that was exactly what I thought it was going to be. With obviously Dragunov defeating Dijak. Those two just beat the hell out of each other. And I loved it.
Yes, they did.
And I knew it was going to be a great match in that regard. I thought Dijak complemented Dragunov's style very well. They've both been presented as guys that enjoy pain, and pain makes them stronger, and they just laugh in the face of it, and that played out really well, and that just boosts Dragunov's spot in the ladder up more after having a match like that with Dijak. He's definitely got to be.
Was that okay? Now I'm becoming my man. Was that the match where the guy just continued the suplex boom, suplex boom, suplex boom?
Yeah.
Where he flipped like both of them, like between the two of them, like did 7 or 8 in a row.
Yeah.
But no, that just showed the athleticism.
Because
holy shit.
No. So they had.
Was that one or what?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty
I don't
sure.
know that, or was that the tag team match? I don't know, but yeah, I know. I'm pretty sure. No, it was the tag team match with the Creeds. It was right. It's just because I was in awe. Really,
that's like Julius, one of Julius's signatures. He does something very similar to what Matt Jackson, one of the Young Bucks.
Yeah,
he does the same thing. Which he did do on the AEW pay-per-view. He suplexed someone all the way down a ramp.
It was just, but it was cool to watch it though, because every time he did it, he would do that backflip and jump back up on his feet.
Yes.
Yes. And he did that like 7 or 8 times, and you're like, holy crap.
He is, and that's why him and his brother work, because he's that athletic type, and then you got Brutus, who's the big brute.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Well, what's funny to go back to that. What's funny to go back to that. Right after he did that, he tagged out. He's like, "I gotta go catch my breath."
Yes. But that was now that we're onto it, that was a fantastic match as well. Gallus versus them. I had a feeling.
That was a really good match.
Yep, and I think now, after this, I think the Creeds are ready to go up to the main roster. I'm going to talk about someone else in a minute too that I think their time in NXT's done now as well. Creeds have done everything as a tag team. They've done everything that they can do in NXT. I thought they were going to be a part of the draft, but You don't need to be. That's just a whole big story. We know that. They can be brought up at any time. I think their time is now to be brought up.
Yeah, I really do. They need that kind of energy in the tag team side.
And I think Ivy still stays down. She needs a bit more time in NXT. But yeah, the brothers themselves, I think it's time. This was I think they will. I think they'll get called up now. That was a hell of a match to end your NXT note on. PK at the $5 US. He said, Paul, wish he could be as good as commentator as King Booker.
Hey, dude, Booker was off his game, PK. I'm sorry, Booker was off his game. I expected way more from Booker. Okay, I'm an old school Booker fan, but Booker was off his game.
You know what? We put Paul there. He can be Bobby the Brain Heenan to Booker T.
There you go.
Team up. Yeah, there we go. They'll bring out the best of each other. Actually, you should probably steal the show and the limelight from the wrestlers. That'll be
isn't that that's what the good table guys are supposed to do every once in a while.
Yeah. No one's talking about what happened on the pay-per-view apart from what the commentators were doing and saying. And of course, on to the next match, which I got this prediction right because I remember you and Josh thought it was going to be Cora Jade versus young Miss, what's her name? I'm spacing on her name now. The former champ. But I picked this.
Oh, dear God. Yeah, go ahead.
I picked this.
I'm sorry.
Picked Tiffany versus Lyra, and I picked Tiffany to come out on top. And like I said, the last two NXT Women's Champions have both been babyfaces. So I thought now's the time. They need to go for heel champion. Although in saying that, which I really, really hope they don't do, the crowd seemed a lot more behind Tiffany than they did Lyra. I just hope they're not going to turn a babyface because of that, because that crowd was just eating her up. I was like, no, she needs to stay heel. She's a natural heel, that one. But that was a fantastic match with two extremely athletic and technically sound females that are going to carry just women's wrestling forward. You know, they're both young. They're going to carry this brand. They're going then when they both move up to the main roster, they'll continue that along too. But this
plus we know they can let a heel carry a belt for a while. I mean, shit. I'm not always a big fan of it for being in the record books, but whatever.
No, and but it was a fantastic match. They had the longest match of the night too, with 16 minutes.
Yeah.
So that was fantastic.
But it was a good match. It was a great match, though.
It was. As I said, and you could have put the belt on either one of them, but they're both fantastic. I just thought it was definitely Tiffany Stratton's time, or as she likes to say, Tiffy time.
PK, no. Wow, no.
Yeah, Paul, he comes with another $5. He said, I heard Paul's in-ring name is Pineapple Powerbomb. Could you imagine him doing that in a pineapple suit?
Oh, so mean.
Oh, no. But no, it was fantastic. It's now put Tiffany right on the map, and I hope they give her a decent run with it. At least for a good 3 to 6 months. I'd like to see her hold that belt. It's just going to do her wonders on her way up to, because I think by this time, probably next year, she'll be up on the main roster. She's really, really coming along. I think she's another one that Natalia's got a handprint all over. Helped train. So no, fantastic match. And then of course we ended it with the big one for the NXT Championship. And as I mentioned before, there was somebody else that I think's ready for the main roster, and that's the man that lost. As I've nicknamed him Big Papa Pump Jr. in Bron Breakker. We knew this was going to be another fantastic match, and they put on a show again. They put on another. Their first match was great, and actually I'll probably say even this one was better than their first match. So it was great to see. Really enforces Carmelo as the real face of the brand now of NXT.
Right.
He's going to go to higher places. He's got a lot more left in him in NXT before he comes up. But yeah, Bron Breakker, I think this was the match to finish his NXT run. I don't know when they'll bring him up, but I think he's ready. And probably I'd put him on SmackDown. I think they need that other.
Yeah, they need more on SmackDown like
They
him.
do.
Than,
Another massive heel over there, considering Roman's not there all the time, you know. So I'd love to see him come in and hell beat up Austin Theory and take the US Championship for a run.
yeah. No, I like Austin. I liked Austin.
I like him. He is coming along, as I like to say, very slowly. I don't think he's ever going to be John Cena like he hopes to be. And I don't think he'll ever be the face of the company. But he's a good worker. He just, for me, there's something lacking with his mic skills and his storytelling. Like he's a bit. Still,
and his charisma, and a big part of it, his charisma. And I'm going to go back to it. In fact, the person that I think has the charisma for it next is the one who's on our screen right now, the American Nightmare. He's the one with the charisma, you know.
Yes, yeah. Welcome in, Paris. Welcome in, bro. Good to see you.
Hey, Paris. Don't even. Not you too.
Yeah,
as soon as the pineapple crap starts, Paris shows up. What the hell? Ah, jeez.
It could be a good.
Hey, Paris, I've still got those 2 cans of pineapple, and one of them may find its way back to you forever, like in the same place. You'll hear this whizzing sound past your head. Yeah.
It'd be an interesting gimmick. It'd be like that. I think he was on YouTube. That silly YouTuber dressed up as a banana, and he was, I'm a banana.
Yeah. Carlo keeps trying to get me a pineapple cosplay. Yeah.
Yobi's like Pineapple Express, choo choo.
Wow.
But no, that unlike Night of Champions, I gave, without obviously Booker's commentator, but I give the pay-per-view a solid 8. I gave it a solid 8 from match.
Yeah, it had better matches. It had better
Definitely.
matches.
From a wrestling standpoint, it was a lot more entertaining than Night of Champions. It really was. So that was they kind of almost stole the weekend for WWE. Really, they pretty much did. So that was another fantastic pay-per-view. And then, of course, the third big major one, I know you didn't get to see much of it. You might have seen some highlights, possibly.
I only saw a couple of pictures, and Darcy, the male girl from Joe Bob's Drive-In Theater, she's a big AEW fan. She was there. She had some footage of one of the guys jumping off one of the high ladders onto the ringside.
Again, this Double or Nothing pay-per-view, top to bottom, was pretty damn good. It was another pay-per-view I gave a solid 8 to. The only match I didn't really care for happened to be on the pre-show, thank God, which was that the Hardys versus the Guns and Ethan Page.
Really, and that would be the one I really kind of wanted, but that's just because I'm old and I like the
Hardys,
I
mean,
you know?
it was alright. It did what it needed to do, but it wasn't anything special. And then as they kicked off with the 21-man Blackjack Battle Royal, which was freaking just awesome. Awesome.
Now you're making me want to hunt. You're making me want to hunt down this pay-per-view.
It was awesome, and I predicted correctly. I thought in this type of style, I had this feeling Orange Cassidy was going to, retain, which he did. But him and Swerve, they ended up being the final two, and wow, they put on this couple of minutes where they were just sort of move for move. The finish of that match was just amazing, absolutely amazing. It was insane to watch. So those two kicked off the actual pay-per-view really, really well. And then Adam Cole and Jericho's unsanctioned match, where they had to stop by referee stoppage, I thought was, again, told the story, was fantastic with two fantastic workers. And only thing I was a little bit perturbed by was maybe the finish, but, you know, in that type of sort of match where anything kind of goes, it worked, you know, because Adam Cole had mounted him and just started laying the punches in, and Jericho's eye was starting to blow up. I just forget which eye it was, but it was starting to blow up because I think he copped it sweet with
he got popped in the eye, so it started to swell shut.
Yeah, I think it may have been the chain because they brought a chain into the ring. No. I think he got popped in the eye with that at some point. I don't know if it was when Adam Cole wrapped it around his leg or knee, but yeah, I think he definitely got popped with the chain. It was cool having Sabu out there for the old school guys, you know, from ECW and stuff. That was awesome. But again, that was an insanely good hardcore style match. Then you had, I got this one wrong.
Oh, wait, let me just ask you then. But so you're saying Jericho did good because you were worried about, you know, Jericho's getting older and Jericho.
No, he did. You know. He did in this, in this match, he did really well. Again, he's one of the better older workers. He really is. He may not be what he once was. Like, he can't do the flips and stuff that he did do. Like,
right.
I haven't seen him do his lion salt, for example, for a while. He did it at some point last year, a couple of times, but you know, that's understandable. I mean, he is 50 years, and he's more works a ground game. I mean, than nowadays compared to his cruiserweight days. But no, he did. He put on a good show with Adam Cole. FTR versus Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal was really interesting. It was funny with I knew it was going to be funny with Karen Jarrett and Sanjay getting involved, and but it didn't go the way that I thought it was going to go, because I thought Mark Briscoe may have turned on FTR, but he didn't. And that was a good 20-minute match for the tag belts.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
that's good. Yeah.
They actually put on a show. I think Jay Lethal kind of carries Jeff Jarrett, though. Jeff Jarrett really, I mean, he definitely isn't what he used to be. So it's probably good that you protect him by being in a tag team. I mean, he gets the heat. Don't get me wrong. He gets the heat. He can still get heat like no tomorrow, like he always has. But yeah, his wrestling now leaves a little to be desired compared to when he was even back in TNA. Wardlow and Christian's ladder match was fantastic, and it really Christian helped really put Wardlow back on the map and back over again to help build him back up.
Oh, PK, can you send a link to PK?
Oh, yeah. Hang on a second.
Okay, PK, watch your DMs.
Where are we here? But yeah, it was awesome. It was another good match, high quality match. Because Wardlow can do stuff for a big man that you just don't expect. You know what I mean? He can do flips and some of the like power bombs he did on him. Woof.
I may have to try to locate some of the footage. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's definitely well worth the watch.
Especially I want to see the ladder stuff, because the one thing that Darcy showed was like, she said she had to stop filming because she was genuinely worried about him hurting himself. He went down so far.
Yeah. Here we go. Yeah, we're getting him in. We're getting him in here, Yobi. Just waiting for him to accept the link here. There he is. He's gonna come on and give you some shit, Paul.
I know he is.
He's gonna give you a hard time.
I know he is. I am not surprised.
I'm waiting for it.
Yo!
What's good, bro? What's good? Welcome on, sir.
Yo. Welcome to the most electrifying channel and all of entertainment. It's your boy PK. Listen, I had to come in the back door. I am tired of Paul and his slander. What is this about? Hey, listen,
Booker
double or
was
nothing.
half asleep for the pay-per-view. What can I say? The man is not used to working on Sunday.
Well, I want to see you commentate for 6 to 8 hours straight. I want to see that.
He was asleep in the first hour, dude. So yeah.
Yo,
eight
Double or
o'clock was
nothing.
past his bedtime, man. 8 o'clock was past his
I want everybody watching. I want everybody to tell me when Paul's bedtime is before he over here clowning on King Booker.
Five time.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, he been commentating for a long time. Now you want to hate on it, all right? How
Like
many
I
shows
said, you see, I'm a Booker fan, but last night he was asleep at the table, man.
All right. So what we gonna do? So Paul, yo, in stage name, we gonna make a creative character on 2K23. He's gonna be yellow, and he's gonna be pineapple powerbomb. We gonna make him.
Powerbomb.
It's gonna be the king of the show right now, right? He's gonna be our new. Hey, listen, Double or Nothing was fire.
Oh yeah, man.
I was like, whoa.
Heck yeah, man. Top to bottom, bro.
I was so impressed. These guys come out here, and they pull such a great show.
Mm-hmm.
I just, even the women put on a great show. And let me just say, I know I sent Spooky earlier, where they threw somebody tweeted shout outs to 2 women who held the titles that lost their titles. There was lots of title exchanges going on.
Yes.
The whole night. And not to say all of them, right? Just there was some. And the historic title reigns, right? 508 days. Jay Cargill, like shout out to her. Like for somebody who's a noob.
Yeah.
I call her a noob, not because to be disrespectful, but new to the wrestling game, right? But hold this title for 508 days. 60-0, my guy. Well, 60-1.
Yeah.
60-1.
See, I
That's
wasn't
huge.
That was the big surprise, wasn't it, bro? I didn't
Yeah.
know that Stat was that close to coming back. They kept that so on the down low.
Let me share something else with you and everybody watching. I don't know if you all know, but AEW keeps their stats, their records on the site. Like you can watch.
Yes.
You can go to their site and you can see their record for this year and overall.
Yep.
Like overall, and Quasicat. And I know we was talking about. You was talking about what was it, Brian Cage or
Wardlow and Christian. Wardlow and Christian.
Wardlow and Christian. Fantastic match. Of course, this is Christian's. I think it's 23rd ladder match.
Yep.
I don't know, man, how many ladder matches you can do, but this man's body's probably beat the hell up.
Oh yeah.
But it was great. First time I ever seen Wardlow go in. Like this man is way too big to be climbing a ladder that high to be
doing a swanton on freaking Luchasaurus, bro. I was like,
it's like he stole that from Jeff Hardy, and I was like, yo, I don't know if you're gonna make it back up.
He reminds me of a young Brock in that sense, like willing to take those risks, you know. Because Brock used to do that, go to the top rope, and he did the shooting star when he was younger.
Yeah, well,
I can't see Brock doing that now. I really can't.
You ain't gonna last.
No,
you ain't gonna. If you're over 200 and some pounds, like almost 300, you probably shouldn't be doing swantons from 50 feet in the air.
No, but that was insane. That was insane.
Don't get me wrong.
How about
I'm entertained.
How about Paul? How about Paul's boy, bloody Arn Anderson, biting the freaking thumb of Luchasaurus, and he had blood.
Yeah,
like
baby.
He looked like a vampire. He had blood all in his mouth.
Yo, but they did such a great job.
Oh yeah.
And you notice they chose black ladders for a reason, so that it does not take away from the show. It doesn't like reflect or anything.
No,
You
exactly.
ain't noticed that?
Yeah, yep. No,
Good
that was
choice. Good choice.
And then, of course, we had...
So it's more of a prop, but it's,
Yeah.
you can pay attention to the storyteller.
Then we had the short women's match, which was... it wasn't the shortest, but it was one of the short ones with Tony defeating Jamie Hayter.
And that was a great build up, I think. And
I think she might be injured. That's maybe why they had it go short. Maybe that shoulder of hers is messed up or something.
Well, she took her from Tony from the beginning, anyway.
Yes, she did. She did too.
But I just find it weird that they turned Tony heel out of nowhere. But I guess she fits in with the
other two. Yeah.
And that's another thing I think I got to give AEW props for is they're not afraid to do, what do you call them? Factions.
Oh,
right?
factions. Yes, yeah, exactly.
Like they can have factions inside of factions. They'll have like a whole family tree.
Yeah, pretty much. But I must admit, with Toni Storm, like I found her like boring as a baby. I think her as a heel makes her a bit more interesting teamed up with the other two. Cause compared to the other two,
sure.
she didn't really have a personality in that. She had the in-ring ability, but didn't really have that personality. Whereas I think now she kind of does. She can.
It's easier sell.
Yeah, be cocky and arrogant, and and it's coming off well. I was like, okay, maybe she needed this. Maybe she needed this for sure. And then the next match was, of course, the Open House Rules 6-man tag for the Trios Championship. That was another fantastic match.
Let me just say, the fact that these trios, and I keep saying this, and let me just go back to the damn Royal Rumble-esque thing in the beginning, right?
Mm.
The fact that you had these high flyers doing all these insane things.
Oh, yeah.
And then you have these triple tags for trios.
Mm.
And all of these guys they put on they come out and put on a show that's unbelievable.
It was awesome.
And what's crazy is all these tag teams, they have such chemistry.
Yes.
On together. It's insane. Now, there was a few of them, right? So because there was one with hold on, I'm getting confused because I want to make sure. Yes, there was a few of them because one was with, which one were we talking about?
This one's the House of Black versus the Acclaimed and
House of Black.
Yeah.
Yo, tell me if they was not going in.
Man.
Holy crap.
How about Billy Gunn, bro? Like, I was like, damn.
I know, at his age.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
He's in one of the best shapes of his career, I think. Like, he was insane in that match. I was like, whoa, look at him go.
Paul, you gonna say he asleep too? You gonna say Billy Gunn asleep
well,
too?
I didn't get to see any of Double or Nothing. So
how about the dig at the start with Max doing his rap, and he took that dig at Buddy to do with Dominic? I thought that was.
He said, "How you gonna have a House of Black with no black people on it?" I was like,
yeah. And then he mentioned Dominic. It was I just forget how it went, but it was something about a young kid Dominic. I was like, oh, and like Bowen's face just sold it. I was like, oh,
yo,
he burned him.
Yo, let me just say, Acclaim is so over. It doesn't. They do not look weak losing at all, bro.
They don't even need any belts, man. They're that over. Like, they're so over.
It is too over.
But those six, those six, you ain't wrong, bro. They put on a heck of a match. Oh
my gosh, they sold that so heavy, bro. Like Malachi and his kicks. Oh. I was like, yo, I was feeling it.
Yeah. Yep.
Yo, I didn't even know Buddy can move that fast. The way he just hopped over the ring and it was just like lightning.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, he was quick. Brody King did his thing too. Like, damn.
Yeah, it's almost like, it remind me of the Wyatt family But
yes.
they just didn't move. They just didn't move as
Quick. Yeah.
yeah.
And I mean, Brody
Yeah.
King for his size is amazingly quick for his size. Like he's very quick. He even does that corner bomb where he runs. Boom!
Yeah.
I'm like, oh snap!
So you remember in the beginning when they tried to do a whiplash and then he just like curled over the back of Malachi, and Malachi just kind of sat down in a minute. Don't that remind you of CM Punk?
Yeah.
Like I was like,
Yeah.
what is this right here? And then they both sat down.
Yeah.
It's this taunt, it was exciting. Don't worry, Paul, I got you. You gonna see it and you gonna be like, yeah, I'm feeling.
I want to
this.
see it. Yeah, I want to
Yeah,
see it.
I got you.
Yeah.
And then
I
of course,
got you, Paul.
moved on to she ended up having 2 matches. Jade first she had a match with Taya Valkyrie.
It was almost like a what was it? Like a like a Money in the Bank type deal.
Yeah, it really was.
Because she was definitely not fresh. I would have never took on another opponent.
No, you know what
especially,
I think might happen though, because of the way it was done. She might turn on and beat the crap out of Mark Sterling, bro, because that was his fault. Storyline perspective wise, it was his fault because of what he said. She can take on anybody anytime, like.
That's some.
What you doing?
Well, yeah, like give her. She's not fresh right now. She just that match wore it. I mean, if it was me, that match. She had nothing left after that. She was done. That chick was probably the hardest match she had.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that it was. And then Stat just came out and took on a
she
tired
had nothing left.
No.
She was gassed.
I mean, I think it was
do.
the right decision. I think it was, and all I hope for poor Stat. I love Chris Statlander as a wrestler. I just hope her legs will hold out on her and her health. Wish good health upon her because, she'll end up if she can stay healthy, she'll elevate that title again to even higher heights again because she is the homegrown, fully homegrown talent. I mean, she was there from day one.
I think it'll be all right. I think they made a good choice.
Yeah.
Honestly, it gives time for Jade to spend more time in training. She's come a long way, man. You gotta give her props, bro.
She
being
has
a rookie.
Like I've said, I believe she has a fantastic look. She does. She looks $1 million. And I think she can talk a little bit on the microphone. I'd just like them to get a Mickey James or a Gail Kim or someone along those lines to come in and get her match skills up. That's she can do some power moves and that, but I mean she could be a beast. She could be a lot better.
I mean, she sells it for being a power chick, but
she does. Yeah.
But,
that's another thing that she does really well is sell moves. She really does.
Right.
So she's learnt that really well.
But don't get me wrong, I agree with you. I agree with you 100. But in general, she's in better shape than some of the other talent. And we already spoke about this. Like, just bringing talent back for what?
Exactly. I actually think she can be, one of the top. She's not obviously there yet. She's still got a ways to go, but she could be one of the top 5 females on that roster. She really could, She just needs the right people training her, And that's why I mentioned to you in the DMs, like a Gail Kim and Mickey James would be fantastic. Those ladies had the match skills, years of experience would be perfect. If Natty does end up leaving WWE, get Natty in there. Natty's about the right build and everything as well to sort of show her the ropes of.
Hell, Beth Phoenix. She stole the damn finisher from her.
Yeah. Because I don't know if she's under any legends. I'm not sure. I know. Obviously, Edge is, but if she's not,
I don't think she's in their legends contract.
No. So again, she would be another good pickup for her.
Yeah, Edge is trying to go back with Christian anyway. So.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it was great to see Stat. That was a surprise because, as I said, that's one thing I will give AEW over WWE too. They can be very good at keeping things very quiet, without anybody realizing that it's going to happen. Like, and I don't know if anybody thought that she was going to show up at the pay-per-view, because we weren't sure how far away she was from returning. So that was a nice surprise, I thought.
Yeah.
So it was great to see. Yeah.
And I ain't trying to take over. Did you already go over Jericho and
we can go back to it, bro. Now that you're here, because I said...
No, I was
Yeah,
just
we can go back
asking-
to whatever you want, dude.
Because I ain't want to take over. So I just wanted to say, like, Adam Cole is so over right now.
Ooh, yeah.
That boy is on fire.
Yes.
He is on fire. And shout out to Jericho for putting him over just a little bit more. With that being said, he will probably have the TNA World title around his titles very soon, I see.
I think he beats MJF at All In. That's my prediction.
Yeah, he is way too hot right now,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
As
I said, he is the most over person in that company right now. Right.
Yes, I agree. Like, he can do no wrong. I won't say it was his best match, but I would say they put on a pretty good one.
Yes.
It's a little slower than I would like, but I know he had to. I got you, bro. My bad. No. She's in 2K games because that is a year old. When they make those games, it's based on a year ago. She's not currently on the contract.
Well, I'm not. Don't quote me on this, but I know early in the piece, so they could have taken him. I don't know, but Cody was in. Whether he still is or not, Cody was in the AEW video game.
Yeah, he is, because it was taken during the time he was in contract.
Yes.
So the games are made like. So when we get them, it's after the fact.
Yes.
It's just like like Jeff Hardy was still in 2K, even though he left the company a year and a half after it came out.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and then of course we can the co-main event, the first half of it, that 4-way.
By the way, double main event.
Yeah, double main event. That's what I mean. Yeah. So the co-main event. Yeah, that fatal 4-way of the that was lived up to every bit of the hype leading into it. It really did. It
was good. I was extremely satisfied.
Yes. Insane. Even
I would have been happy no matter who won.
Oh yeah. I mean, I predicted the whole time that that MJF was going to walk out.
By the way, Paul, I sent you links, so you got.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at it right now.
Just because I thought
right where Jericho took the chain to the face by accident.
Just because I thought, they're going to have him drop that to Cole. I really do think
No,
that's where it's building.
Yeah, that's what I feel. I feel like he's on drop it to Cole, but shout out to everyone who showed out because those dudes.
I mean, they all did really well, but see if you agree with this. Sammy. Wow. Wow. That
I know. He deserves a title run, bro. Like, what are we gonna do with this?
That was insane. Like where he was just on fire. He was diving over there, flipping over.
All of them.
Oh, jeez.
All of them, dude.
Yeah.
Yes, but especially Sammy. Sammy come out and
he had that sequence. Yeah, he had that sequence where it was just boom.
He was flowing like.
Whoo. Oh man!
Yeah, he was flowing like water, bro.
Oh yeah! Oh, even this. I mean, he did a standing Spanish fly. I'm like, what the hell? Look at this kid.
Yeah, this dude needs a title run of some sort. Like, please give him something.
Yeah.
Let's stop playing games.
If they're gonna make another male's title for this supposed,
it's gonna be on another show. They got another show, so. There's gonna be some more titles there on the new show.
Is Collision on TBS or is it on TNT?
I don't know. They owned by Warner Brothers, so it don't matter.
Yeah. So if they make a man's TBS title, I mean, I'd be chucking it straight on him because he needs a belt. He needs a
that
belt.
dude is definitely a fire ass talent.
And I like the whole tease by Jack Perry, where it looked like he could have gone heel, where he was going to tease that he was going to hit Darby in the head with the belt. And he's like thinking.
That finish was crazy. I was not expecting.
How about when they all locked each other up, man? They're all on the ground. They all had. I was like, look at this. Sammy had the ankle lock applied, and then MJF had Jack was a Darby in the headlock, and then Darby had Jack. I was like, damn, it just looked like chain lock. It's insane. That
it was definitely worth like. Nobody can say they wasn't entertained watching this, bro. Like,
no, exactly.
It was like if you blinked, you missed it. That's how crazy it is. Like, it's insane.
And it had a good,
very high intense energy for that match, bro.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
They were always only 10 seconds shy of giving them 28 minutes too for that match. So they. I
mean, they had to because it was 18 minutes, not 18. I mean, 38 minutes left.
Yeah.
For the other main event that they had to get out, which was the other the other trios match. Oh my gosh.
The Anarchy in the Arena. Oh wow.
They didn't even let them finish having their intro before they started.
No. They kept going with Moxley's music and kept going. And then I was like, I'm waiting for him to get up. And then when the Bucks started going up the ramp, I'm like, here we go. The super kicked the lead singer in the face.
They was like, we ain't got time. We gotta get this up.
They were fighting in the crowd. They were, oh man. And it lived up to its brutality as well, which was what I was expecting.
I would say, hands down, these guys. That was a great pay-per-view. That was 100% great. High energy. There was a couple slow matches, but most of them were high energy and a lot of looking. I know you was talking about the 6-man and talking about Swerve and Orange Cassidy, right?
Oh, that was insane, that last bit between them two.
Swerve is now, with that showing, he is now over.
Oh, yeah. Easy.
Because, let me say, look, if you just look at Orange Cassidy's stats, he has the most wins.
Yes.
On singles than everybody on the roster.
Yeah.
His career stats is higher than anybody. He's the only one that has over 100 and some wins.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
Total.
And he's held that belt. He's held that belt for quite some time. He's going to drop it eventually, but he's held it for a long time.
It might be a Swerve thing. Think about it.
I think Swerve.
It might be a Swerve thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he, but they got him and well, I won't say that. My guy is Keith Lee, but Keith Lee and Brian Cage might have a huge feud. But that would be good because I actually want to see them go at it. To be honest, those two big dudes.
They're two big dudes that can move. That's the thing,
Yeah.
But,
I would like to see that.
Obviously, the Blackpool Combat Club going over. Obviously, is going to lead to blood and guts, I think. Because now we didn't count, but I posted on Twitter. Kenny, after the after the cameras stopped rolling, insinuated that he's got two friends outside of AEW that are going to bring in, and I have a feeling it's going to be a Carter and a Bushi. And the reason why Ibushi obviously first and foremost comes to mind, but the reason why I say Okada is Okada's currently having a feud with John Moxley.
Well, you see who showed up. That's what makes the magic happen. When we have all these people coming from different promotions, just popping in and showing up, and just
that was Takeshita, wasn't it? At the end there.
Yeah. I just want to see him. Like, come on. Hey, I'm with it. I'm with the smoke. Let's have this drama.
I think, if I'm not mistaken now, if it's going to still be Kenny and the Bucks plus Okada and Ibushi, that's 5. So I think
it'd be 10 men. It'd be crazy.
The Blackpool Combat Club, we'll have 5 now with with Takeshita. So it'll be insane for blood and guts.
It's definitely gonna be off the chain. Something we ain't never seen.
Oh yeah,
which should be dope.
Yeah, and I think Okada and Moxley anyway are going to have a match prior to that, because I think Blood and Guts will take place at Wembley. They've got Forbidden Door before it. I think they're meant to have a match there. Okada.
Well, see, Forbidden Door is like the mid before the big one. Blood and Guts is their big one, so
yeah.
it'll make more sense to have it on that show
at All In. Yeah. So that's where, and that'll be
actually.
beautiful.
You know what? When is Forbidden Door? That's in July or June.
No,
right?
June, because July's All In. Yeah, which is at Wembley. Yeah.
All In. Yes. Okay, so yes, All In sounds good.
And they're going to have three. Well, if it is which I'm pretty damn sure it's going to be Okada and Ibushi, but there is a third big New Japan star that's already said he will be at All In, and that's Will Ospreay. So you're going to have some talent on that show.
You know, and not to take away. I know he's going over the current pay-per-views, but yo, that means Sasha or Monet is also going to show up, because this is the cross pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Or New Japan.
The only thing I'm worried about is I don't know to what extent with her, because she's injured.
Well, all I know is she'd be a free agent at that time of that pay-per-view.
She might be ready for All In, though. She might be ready for. I mean, she could show up.
I'm saying her contract would be up by that pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So that means she said she's gonna go with whoever has the bag.
Yeah.
So whoever has the bigger bag, that's where she going.
We know Tony.
And my
Tony's
thing
got the
is,
money.
all I gotta say is they got a brand new show. They can put a whole bunch of new people on.
Yeah. And
that's all I can say.
Bring her in, that would be interesting. And hey, if you bring her in, she could feud with the woman that they had to redirect and have her beat her for that inaugural New Japan Strong Women's title, Willow.
And shout out to Willow. She is a hard working woman out there, and
I was so happy that, I know obviously that Mercedes was meant to win it, but they had to change it last minute because she did her ankle in. But I was so happy for Willow, because, like you said, she has busted her ass and busted her ass and busted her ass. I thought that they were going to have her beat Athena, because they had two matches for that Ring of Honor, but they didn't go in that direction. And I was a bit disappointed there. I thought she would have been perfect as the Ring of Honor Women's Champ, but yeah, to have this title.
I kind of don't want her. I kind of don't want to see, because I think they don't need to look weak. They need to look strong. And then they both do. How do you do that without making one look weak? So
yeah, that's true. And Athena's,
and they're not really heels, so you can't have them DQ each other. So it's got to be, you got to pivot.
But Athena is at the moment. Athena's a heel at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you get what I'm saying. You want them to be strong. So
yeah.
And only way out of that is a DQ, and nobody really want to see that. But sometimes you want to. Sometimes you gotta do it to save them.
Wouldn't be the first time. Yeah.
No, it wouldn't be. No, you're right. It wouldn't be.
I mean, sometimes you got to do it to save it, because you have no other way out of this thing without costing the momentum of each person.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that.
Yeah, man. I'm sorry.
Again, they had a great pay-per-view, man.
Oh man, it was.
And they fitted. They haven't fit enough of the other wrestlers into that battle royal. I mean, you had Tony Nese, Daivari, Commander, Kip Sabian, obviously both the best friends, Butcher and the Blade. Bandito was fantastic. So was that Commander. He walked that rope, man. Did that insane moon. Jay White and Juice Robinson, the Lucha Bros were also up in there. But in that match, Jay White and Ricky Starks extended their story. That was
Ricky Starks did a great job. Oh my gosh!
Oh man,
he showed up.
That spear out of freaking nowhere. It was so quick. You blinked and you missed it. I was like, damn. even Big Bill, man. Even Big Bill got over. a
He said, "Why they call him Big Bill? Oh, because he's big and he's Bill."
Yeah. I know. But even he had his little moment there towards the end, which I thought was really good. There was a few there that had time in that match to shine. And then obviously, as I said, Orange Cassidy and Swerve at the end was just insane. Like that sequence, once they got everybody out, that first initial sequence between them two, and that which ended up with them both laying on the mat, was just nuts. I was like, damn, look at this, boom, 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 but then rest time.
I would say it was very good. Paul's gonna watch it so he can comment tomorrow when y'all go live.
Right.
But overall, I give them like a 9 out of 10 for this pay-per-view. It was very good.
This and NXT definitely stole the weekend. Because Night of Champions, as I said to Paul, I was giving it like a 5.5. It just wasn't. There was some good things, but it was just very meh from WWE. It really was.
Well, for me, the last couple of WWE pay-per-views have been very meh. They've had a couple of good things, but it's been surrounded by a lot of.
Put it this way: if they didn't have the storytelling at the end, obviously with the whole bloodline thing and that, and if they didn't have AJ and Seth on that show, that would have just been. I don't even know if I could give it a 1, or a 2. It was.
But
it was
check this out. Don't think that they not watching AEW show. Like, damn.
Oh, they got to. Yeah. They'll come back. They'll come back with a pay-per-view, and they'll be like, "Yeah, we gotta."
Damn.
Fix this shit. I mean, as I said, NXT helped them out. Their pay-per-view was the best WWE.
Yeah, but they're considered the undercard, to be honest. I know they had their own pay, but they just considered the undercard when you're supposed to have the main roster, and then they don't even show up.
And of course, like I said to Paul too, that Impact also had their pay-per-view, which was half decent. I mean, it was actually more watchable than Night of Champions. It was actually better than Night of Champions. Even with they haven't got the greatest of talent down there. They have some, but it was what it was and did what it needed to do. Like the powerbomb at the end of the show to finish it off with putting Scott D'Amore through the flaming table was insane. I was like, damn, bully. So that was a good way to end it. That's leading to, and I'm glad they're actually doing it because the man has been a workhorse his whole career. Alex Shelley, I really hope gets his. I know he's had one shot before at their world title there, but I hope this time they put the belt on him. I really do because he deserves it. His tag team partner's already had a couple runs being a world champion. That's the one belt that's always eluded Alex Shelley. He's an insane worker, and I hope they, give him that respect and let him have. Same with eventually at some point before he hangs it up.
Does Impact? First of all, and shout out to Frankie Kazarian. That's another workhorse.
Yes,
been around forever. Does Impact go live anymore, or are all their shows taped?
I'm pretty sure. Well, the pay-per-views are live, but I'm pretty sure their weekly shows is taped.
That's what I thought.
I think so too. Yeah, I don't think they do.
the only live show is their pay-per-views, obviously. And Trinity had a good match against Giselle Shaw. That was quite a good.
I didn't get to see that. I might look at that.
Yeah, that was actually quite a good match because she's a good.
Is that her? Is that what she going by? Is Trinity?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So she don't have to worry about names or whatever.
No, exactly.
So I propose this, and I'm gonna get out of here because I'm gonna let you guys wrap up. But we should make a creative character with Dragonheart Yobi. Call him the Dragon Hardy, and then make the pineapple power bomb, and then we're gonna have a match.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
That sounds good.
I think we should do that.
I haven't. I take that back. I have tried to wrestle against other players, and I got my ass kicked. It's like.
Oh, by the way, AEW's game comes out end of June.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Which
is on Game Pass.
And I've told, it's going to be on Game Pass, and I told
It's gonna. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. That's cool.
It's arcade. The controls
Yep.
are more simplified than what WWE's were. So for accessibility purposes, it'll be a game. But
It'd
probably
be
a better
like
game.
NWO versus the World. This was gonna play like.
Yeah, that and
Which
No
cool.
Mercy. No Mercy is another one.
Yep.
Inspiration, yeah. And that's why I
And
was
I'm gonna go. And I'm
correcting-
gonna go for the Owen Hard Cup. I'm gonna go for.
I
the
was
Owen
correcting
Hard Cup.
people online that were having a shot at it for its. I said they're not trying to go for realistic graphics though. That's
Yeah,
not
it's
what they're trying to
arcade.
do.
It's all
It's
about
arcade.
having
Yep.
fun.
Yep, exactly. They're going for that cartoony.
Most of y'all
style.
don't even play wrestling games, so relax.
So
Yeah.
basically, they look like, obviously, the way I said to Trin, I said they remind me of the WCW, NWO Revenge, and No Mercy graphics. Obviously, just
Facts.
more modern. Obviously, more modernized.
Yeah, but it was fun to play. That was
yeah.
the whole point.
And even though they're cartoons,
fun
they
to
still
play.
look like you can look at them and go, yeah, that looks like
Yeah, that's
CM
that
Punk.
person.
That looks like
Yep.
yeah, exactly. Which is fantastic. I'm
Trinity,
glad.
you ain't about to play this. I can't wait. You ain't about to play this. Get out of here.
Oh, she will too. She'll probably kick your butt too. She'll probably.
No, she hasn't.
She'll
you know
make you
what?
cry, PK. She'll make you cry.
You know what? She hasn't played. This is the interesting thing, which is a perfect game for her. She hasn't played a wrestling game since the 64. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so this will be perfect for her because it's going to, as I said, just with modernized graphics, it's going to remind her of the 64 games. Because that's where the WCW games were. That's where No Mercy and WrestleMania 2000 was another one. Yobi's like,
What you
no.
What are you talking about? We about to make these creative characters, and we gonna have them wrestle.
Yeah.
You gonna have the AI just fight each other and see who wins.
That's right. I'm gonna have to work on my entry, my music.
We're gonna do it in the AEW game, and I reckon we do it in the AEW game, and then that way they can do like the barbed wire matches or the Stampede match. Have him and Paul's created character wrestling all around that stadium. Yogi be like, I'm climbing the football post.
Oh, it's not going to Game Pass no more.
Oh, it's not happening now. Oh, it was. The last time they commented on it was meant to be going.
It'd be alright. Yeah, they did announce it was going to Game Pass.
Yeah, I may scrape my pennies together regardless.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to be purchasing it for sure. Who knows? They might change their mind. They might change their mind again. I know they were sort of going back and forth on that, but they might change their mind again with some luck. They've still got what is it, June 27th that comes out, so they've still got time to decide.
This is on November 8th. The AEW Games Twitter account provided an update that AEW Fight Forever will be on Game Pass.
Oh, well, there you go. Maybe it is.
So we didn't make it up, but if they could have changed their mind.
They could have. I suppose we're just gonna.
This is from their.
Put it this
Twitter
way:
account.
you'll know for sure at least a week or two before the game comes out. You'll know for sure
Yep.
and for certain then if it's going to be on Game Pass or not.
I mean, they could have changed their mind too. I mean,
Yep.
who knows? They had a lot of.
I just thought it
Issues.
makes. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I thought it would make sense for them. One, because this is their first ever game, and just to get it more noticed and stuff. And two, like you said, they did have to push it back because of the ratings board, and then the lawsuit with GCW complaining about the Fight Forever name. And I was like, how can you go at them with the Fight? And I thought that was really strange that GCW waited until they'd passed the rating, and then they're like, oh, we're going to put another pin in the work. Yeah, we're going to go and take you to court over that Fight Forever. I'm like, but that's a bloody chant. Like, that's a wrestling chant. Like, how are you going to take them to court over something that's chanted by the crowd? And, I mean, I've watched GCW shows, and I've heard it said that, but no, that originated in the AEW crowd was saying that particular chant long before I heard it in a GCW. And GCW is tiny. I mean, in a lot of people actually don't like it and find it a laughing stock because it's just full-blown, death matches, hardcore matches, They're trying to be ECW without being as good as what ECW was, basically. But, yeah.
ECW. Jack Swagger being the ECW champion.
That was weird.
Nah, he's just
The hat guy.
that guy.
Don't touch my hat, man. Don't touch my
No,
hat.
right?
Oh, he loves that hat. He's like, I love this hat.
Oh my gosh.
He's just, I mean, I suppose
He's just the enforcer now. He's probably happy doing that. I don't know. Just
oh man, he gets TV. He's getting plenty of TV time. That's something. Like he's always on the screen.
he ain't gotta hurt himself. So,
No.
I don't know.
He probably prefers it because obviously he also. Well, I'm pretty sure he's still doing his MMA. So, and he took.
Oh, is he?
I'm pretty sure he still is. I know he had a fight just. I think it might have been last year. Yeah, he had another fight, but he obviously took that seriously. I mean, he was doing really well with it too. He was another one like Bobby. They both were doing really well with their MMA. So I don't know. I don't know if Bob. I don't think Bobby's still doing it, obviously, because he's more full time with WWE now. But I think the schedule for AEW allows Jack to still dabble in it, I guess you could say. But that's all.
Well, we'll see, man. Yeah. Let you guys wrap up.
Oh, well, thank you for coming on and joining us, bro. And I had a feeling you wanted to come and shit stir Paul and put him in his place with the whole Booker T comments.
Yeah.
So it was good having you on, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Anytime, man. Anytime. So,
And thanks for the link too. I'm gonna have to sit down with it and really watch it. But yeah.
yeah, man. Yeah, you can give us your thoughts before the show, the Bastard show. So, you'll enjoy it, man. You'll enjoy it. You'll put it this way. I expect you to. I do expect you to turn around and go, "Oh, that completely crapped all over Night of Champions," because it will. It did.
No, what have I been saying? AEW is constantly faster and more hard hitting than WWE has been for the last little while.
That's because they take that more New Japan strong style. There's a lot of their guys have wrestled that style.
At the end of the day, they're also flexible. They got a mixture of old school and new school, so they're not afraid to have the older generation and the new generation mixed, and also mentor them, bro. Like, if you can see, like, their styles are pretty flexible. Like I said, look at Adam Cole and look at Adam Cole's match. That's not his style.
No, it's not his style. No.
But he's flexible enough to wrestle that style, even though that's Jericho's style, but he's flexible. Right. This is kind of hard to explain, but if you watch it, you'll understand what I'm saying. Like, yeah,
exactly. They're all quite flexible in like, even if it's not their preferred.
But they
style.
complement.
Yeah.
But they complement each other, which is what makes it exciting, right?
Exactly.
Whereas in WWE, Vince wants them to only do it this way.
Right.
Yeah.
And that tends to be stale because not everybody is built for that.
No, exactly. Yeah, exactly right. But anyway, brother, did you want to, before you pop out, did you want to let the fine folks know where they can find you, if they want to find you anywhere?
Hey, listen, everybody that's watching and anybody who watch later, you can always find me here with my family and on 4GQ TV later on through the week. Definitely, we're going to have more entertainment for you all as things to come. You know, we're building out our family. You got all kinds of exciting things coming. But keep on the lookout and keep your ear to this podcast. Let me just tell you, I'm so happy that my brother here has came over and brought the wrestling and got Paul excited. He finally not sleep like he says Booker T is and woke up. And
hey,
you know,
Booker T may never join us for this podcast. It's way past his bedtime. So,
see, and then, you know, if he hears that, he's definitely not ever coming. So, but anyways, yeah, definitely at PKX Live on Twitter. But for sure, shout out to both of you guys and everyone else that came and watched and came and listened and threw your comments in. I appreciate you all and appreciate you guys for allowing me in the back door. And, catch y'all
Yeah,
later on
we
this
we got to
week.
get the lock checked. We got to get those locks checked. I mean,
We appreciate you dropping by, brother, and joining us.
Yeah.
It's been awesome.
Yeah, you guys have a good one. I appreciate it.
thanks for stopping by, dude.
Yep.
Booker might just come on to say, did he just
Right.
see that?
Okay.
You know that line? Did he just see that? All right, and did you want to let the fine folks know where they can find you, brother?
Okay, Booker, you can find me in the ring any day, anytime. Okay.
Spin a Rooney.
I won't back down. I'll be there for you, Book. So, no, you can find me at Twitter at Cerebral Paul 1, Twitch at Cerebral Paul. You can find me here on 4GQ TV 3 times a week, if you can imagine that. One for this here wrestling podcast, Wednesday for the Backlog Bastards, and Thursday for 4GQ TV, plus any interviews and things that we do throughout the week and the months. Pay attention. I'm in 2 weeks. I'm going to be going to Niagara Falls Comic Con, so we're going to have some more content from there and hopefully line up some more interviews from there. And then you can find me on Tuesdays tomorrow. I will be on the Xbox Ambassador channel doing my show, Gaming Differently with Cerebral Paul, at 3 p.m. Eastern or noon Pacific. And let's see. And of course, the lovely Retro Renegades and the Doomsayers Network on Friday.
There you go, and one more to it. Everyone tune in live on all channels, because when he hits Niagara Falls, he's going to recreate Harry Houdini's magic trick.
Yeah, that's it.
Coming over the falls, baby.
I'm either going to go over the falls or get pushed over the falls. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be, it's going to be involuntary at that time, but
Yeah. All right, you can, of course, catch me, Speaker TBG, everywhere, the Twitters, Xbox, PlayStation, Steam, and any other social medias there. And, of course, here, 2 times every week. We will be back, obviously, on Wednesday with Mr. Charlie Hustle for another episode of the Backlog Bastards. Of course, we'll be back here, hopefully with our brother as well, Josh, next Monday evening, for more wrestling news and thoughts and reviewing the shows, of course. And also just a reminder while I think of it, on June 11th for the, and I did actually look it up what time I have to be up in the morning. It'll be 3 a.m. for me.
you're going to be like whipped to bed way early in the morning for that.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to be doing, for the Backlog Bastards, a live reaction show as it happens to the Xbox Showcase. Even got permission from Carlo that I can air it in the background as well while we're doing, which kind of makes sense. That's the best way to get your live reaction. So, Paul might be joining us, but he will be up in Canada at the time. He's going to see if he'll have internet, of course. Charlie will be there. We also have 2 guests lined up who will be joining us on that day for the live reaction in K-Mega, as well as the one and only Doggy Dog from the Retro Renegades. So that will be a great live reaction show. It's going to be my first live reaction show, because these shows for me, while I'm living out where I'm living, are usually quite early in the morning, but for 2 hour, as I'm calling it, a 2 hour extravaganza, it's going for 2 hours, it'll be worth getting up at, that time of morning for me to do this. So look out for that on June 11th. And of course, in the meantime, we'll also be covering, I think a few days before that, is the Summer Games Fest. We actually do the Backlog Bastards on the day that's on, so you can catch us, me, Paul and Charlie, talking about the Summer Games Fest and what's being shown there by Jeff Keighley and his team. But until then, everybody, thank you everyone for joining us, from of course my girl and everything she does behind the scenes, Trinity, always a pleasure, love. Of course, for PK dropping in and coming in the back door, joining us. Fantastic, brother. I've always told you the door's always open. And same for the other man in the chat, my brother from another, the Peace, Love, Life gentleman, Mr. Yobi. Always great to see you and talk wrestling with you, buddy, as well as gaming, of course, and just life. My brother Stage, he came and joined us and popped in here earlier. Always good to see you, man. Who else dropped in? Oh, Paris dropped in here at the jump on the Pineapple Express choo-choo train.
Yeah, he just had to jump on the Pineapple Express. That's the only reason he stopped by. The only.
No, it was
I
good.
think he's got a pineapple alert system on his PC that people start talking about it.
Yeah, it was great to see him nonetheless, though. And who else we got? Oh, Charlie, of course, he dropped in to say hello. Always great to see him. He loves a bit of wrestling as well. Gonna have to get him on here too one day as a guest. Timmy dropped by. Always a great supporter of the shows and of everyone, so it was fantastic to see him in here. Of course, young Pharrell was also dropped by. Don't know if he's still here, but shout out to you, young sir. And the brother Dread, of course, everyone's favourite bearded man. He dropped by, so it was great to see so many familiar faces, and we here appreciate all your love and support. But until Wednesday evening, when you'll see us next, hope everyone enjoys the rest of their day or rest of their evening, wherever they may be in the world. Until then, good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. It's Booker. I'm waiting for you. Okay? I'm just right there.
Five time!